Hey everyone, it's baze.djunkiii transmitting from Hamburg, Germany, back with a new video. And first of all, a disclaimer: if you're offended by the word usually referred to as the N-word, if you're easily offended, cut off, watch another video, because this video is not for you. And definitely you will hear the word usually referred to as the N-word a lot in its original form, maybe because YouTube is the source of all evil, and maybe I will get some flack for this video for sure, and maybe people will say me as a white guy from Germany is not entitled to discuss the use of this word or discuss that kind of topics. Well, fuck off, because yeah, I've been watching videos recently, a lot of DJ Vlad videos. I mentioned him in the past as well, like a guy who does a lot of like hip-hop interviews and stuff, and within these interviews, I had like two topics popping up which made me think about that specific word. And the first one is an interview he did like years ago with an Oakland-based female rapper, a white female rapper called Vinasi, and she got a lot of flack because she, as a white girl, used the word nigger a lot in her like interviews and in her like song lyrics and stuff. And well, people were saying, well, you're a white girl and stuff, and you're not supposed to use the word nigger, and well, the usual thing. And I agree that in most of the times the word is used as a derogatory term, and but on the other hand, I see that the black community, especially the hip-hop community, has like turned this and flipped this around and like made this a term of their own. So within their peer groups and stuff, they refer to each other as my nigga, my homie, my whatever, my friend and stuff. And that's their group also used, according to Lord Jamar, which is also appearing in a lot of DJ Vlad interviews, for Mexicans and Hispanics and South Americans. So to him, all non-white people are niggers. Obviously, he as a black man decides, because he's like in the hip-hop community forever and stuff, and they were also around when hip-hop appeared and stuff. So, and my point with V Nasty is the following: I listened to her interview when she was asked about the use of the word nigger and stuff, and she was like, well, I grew up in the hood, and actually if I hadn't had just heard her voice and like the term she speaks and stuff, and not seen the video, I would have 100% agreed that she could be black, because listening to a lot of these interviews, you get like a sense of how people in the hood speak and stuff, and she sounded exactly like any random person you would expect in a project in a hood, which are usually, from what I know in the States and involved in the hip-hop community, black people. So she sounded authentically hood, and she said, well, before she had success and stuff, she had never been out of like her city, Oakland, and had never been outside her peer group, reference group, which is obviously located in the hood. So in her everyday life, she's fully accepted in that group. She's a part of the hip-hop life in Oakland and stuff, and also into gang shit, I guess. And so for her, it was kind of normal to refer to her black and white and Hispanic friends as my nigga. So she got a lot of flack for that without people knowing that she's authentically from that place. So this is one thing I was like, okay, she's right, definitely, because well, she's in that circle, she's accepted and stuff. So maybe people from like how to say this? I got the impression a lot of times that the people who are in this reference groups are like lower class, like social lower class, low income people who live in projects. Usually don't discuss this a lot because they got other things to do, they got struggle, and a lot of people who discuss this are more like, in Germany is more like white people, definitely from the middle class and upper class, and intellectually like going to university and stuff, and all those people with a more intellectual, reflected background maybe, and not involved into a daily hustle. And I think in America it's the same both for black and white. So usually I think that people from that lower class neighborhoods would never refer to a black university professor as my nigger, because he's not part of their group and stuff. And the other thing I wondered about was like some black rapper, very very famous, and he also does some gangster rap shit and stuff. And he had a white girl coming on stage. I guess it was gangster rap, maybe just other hip hop, whatever, but I don't remember the name. But I remember the rough context. And he uses the word nigger a lot in his song lyrics. And this thing, when I listen to Ice-T and like especially to the Home Invasion album or to Body Count or whatever, I don't have any problem with that word either when I sing the lyrics along or like rhyme in my head and stuff. And although I don't use the term in my everyday life because A, I'm not in the hip hop thing, and B, I'm in Germany and whatever, so it's not my daily lingo, I guess. But within a song lyric, I don't have any problem with that, and I stick with like Ice-T's quote I read, like, or he had in one of his songs on Home Invasion, I guess. It's like, a hoe is a hoe, a bitch is a bitch, a nigger is a nigger, and that's it. I do not explain on that shit. So well, he's talking about his group and stuff, but I can go along with that. And he had this white girl coming on stage to rhyme and sing along with him, which for her was like a big show, I guess, a few thousand people or whatever. And for her it was like a moment of her life, like a dream come true, being on stage with her star. And then she's a white girl, sang along to these lyrics and also used the word nigger because they are like in the lyrics. And she was like, okay, I'm singing along. And then he supposedly stopped the music and like shamed her in front of the whole audience that she as a white girl couldn't use that word because she's in black and not from that whatever background. And which was to me very strange, kind of, because well, of course he's right if it was in an everyday context, but if he puts her on stage to sing along with him and he knows the lyrics, is like either he was like intentionally doing this, like to teach white people a lesson about that word, which is okay, I guess, but blaming that girl, especially he put on stage himself with the knowledge of, okay, this word will come up in the next like few bars, is a little bit questionable. And these incidents had a lot of interview responses, and they were like asking people about the use of that word. And in every interview headline, of course, well, on YouTube you cannot write out like nigger because well, this will get you a flag for racism and stuff. And definitely when I use this here, I try to use this well, I use this a lot in this video, obviously, but it's not meant as a derogatory term, or like, well, you know me from my channel, and definitely I'm not about racism and stuff. So but I'm not a linguist, but I try to wrap my head around this from a linguistic perspective, because in all that interview headlines it was like, what do you think about the use of the N-word in so-and-so's songs or interviews or performances or whatever? And what I feel is, of course, if you don't want to say the word and refer to the N-word, it's up to you. But on the other hand, I feel, and this is my question to you, if you say like the N-word in a sentence instead of like the actual word nigger, what is the implication for that? And does this well, its implication is definitely like to be politically correct and stuff, but I feel the use of the N-word phrase puts even more emphasis on the word itself, and actually everybody knows what that means. So it was more like, if you have a black text, like a usual text in a book, and if you use the N-word, it's like a thing your brain processes, but it's like, okay, this is something you cannot say, which is correct for sure, and therefore it's more interesting kind of, and like if you say to your child like video games are forbidden, TV is bad, they are way more curious and way more aware of video games and TV and stuff. And for me it feels like if you use the N word in a text instead of the actual word, maybe you put it in what is this, quotes? I don't know the exact, not parenthesis, but there's a grammatically correct term for things you put around a word to to kind of quote it or whatever. So I don't know that. But it feels like if you have like a page in a book which is all written in like normal letters and black letters, and then you have the N word somewhere in the text, it is more like someone will write out nigger in red in like, I don't know, 36-point capitals, capital letters in the text. So everyone is like, okay, yeah, okay, we know what that means. And it is like putting a few exclamation marks behind the word nigger if you use the N word instead of writing or saying actual nigger in that context, because everybody knows that you don't refer to it as a like derogatory term or whatever. And yeah, tricky question, and I'm curious about what your thoughts on this are. And of course, well, if a community has flipped this word and as a term of endearment or whatever, it's definitely another thing. But I guess you have to be in that, active in that group, or like accepted in that group to use this as well if you want to. And well, more tricky if you're not black, but anyway. So yeah, this is a few thoughts. Seems like my channel is turning a little bit into like socio-cultural questions or whatever, and but I had this coming up in my mind because I watched these videos, and I'm curious what you think. And if you like this one, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I don't want to hear like, well, you're fucking racist and you're like using the word nigger 1 billion times. And well, another thing that came up also is like Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained for sure, but he explained that in different videos. And if you have a movie that is like set in the period of slavery, if you have the slave masters or owners not using the word nigger, it wouldn't be like authentic and like wouldn't make sense for sure. So the use of words in another context or in a historical fitting context in books, or I guess in films as well, is definitely another thing. And when it's bound to the time period, I guess everyone rides along with that, even people who are, well, not in Germany, but a lot of people can agree on the use of that word anyway. And we had this in Germany. I don't know where it is or how it is in other countries. There's these books, Pippi Longstockings, the child's book, and in Germany, in the old version, the old translation, her father was was referred to as Negerkönig, which is like a black king. But with Neger is more, the German Neger is not, can be used as derogatory term and is seen as derogatory term, but it's more like referring to black, like the use of like black people and in general, and not as a specific, or not usually as a specifically derogatory term towards black people. So it's a little different. It's not equivalent to nigger, which we have in Germany as well. But he was like referred to as a black king, which is Negerkönig, maybe, or king of a black tribe, which is better because he's obviously not black. And now he's referred to as a king in the Caribbean or somewhere. So in the new translations, and this is something I definitely disagree on, because in that books are or the time period in which Pippi Longstockings was written definitely is also a document. The way the book was written originally is definitely also a document of how the use of language in that time was, and I definitely think that the use of the Negerkönig, Black King, was meant as derogatory because those guys voted him or like rooted for him as a king. So it's not depicting anyone as stupid or as like less worth than other races or other like skin, what's the word? Skin complexions. So this is another thing. Anyway, don't flag me. Don't get me like flooded with like comments on, well, you are not entitled to discuss this, because, well, I think this is a discussion about consciousness, and so everyone is entitled to have an opinion or like put out questions. So but this is my video for today. It has been a while since I made a last one, but let me know, subscribe, you know the score, and you know the score, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. See you later.